we're going to talk about the 24/2-hour rule. And yeah, everyone's going to go, what is she coming up with now? This one's not my fault. Okay. Hello, everybody, and welcome to SuttonsDaze. If you're new here, my name is Lisa, and we are all about pantry preparedness. Admittedly, with kind of a heavy focus on safe canning, because when 2020 hit, I saw a lot of people creating videos who had obviously never picked up a pressure canner before, and telling people that it was safe to do stuff like dry canning potatoes or canning macaroni and cheese or, you know, crazy stuff. And so I said, no, we are only doing safe canning methods. That's it. Because I like having you here. I like spending time with you. And I would prefer for you not to kill yourself and your family. That's my moral compass. Okay, so today we're going to talk about canning a little bit. And I am admittedly multitasking because I need to do some meal prep, and I kind of suck at meal prep. I'm really good at menu planning. However, meal prep, not so much, you know. And so when you don't prep certain things, if you're busy, you tend to make bad life choices, like McDonald's or something. And no, I didn't go to McDonald's. I didn't. But this is making it so that I don't have to worry about it, okay? Because even if I don't leave the house, sometimes you can make bad life choices. I'm kind of known for them. Anyway, so I thought now would be a really great time to talk with you while I am creating a batch of chaffles. What are chaffles? Chaffles are eggs and other ingredients that are cooked in a waffle maker. I'll show you. Anyway, we're going to talk about canning. Yeah, we are. We're going to talk about canning, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I will leave my recipe and the nutrition information down below, but that's not what this video is about, okay? So bear with me if you don't mind. The whisk is an old Pampered Chef whisk. They no longer make them. You can find them on eBay sometimes. It's called a balloon whisk. Yeah, okay. So what we're going to talk about today, my friends, is we're going to talk about that 24-hour window of forgiveness, okay? Because it's not all it's cracked up to be. Don't pay attention to the clock on the wall. There's a 24-hour window when you are canning that says, okay, you pull them out of the processor when you've canned them properly, okay? You pull them out of the canner and you sit them, and they can sit there for 24 hours. That 24-hour window is a window where, okay, here's why 24 hours, okay? Because when it comes out of the canner, it's really hot, obviously. Most of the time you see the bubbles, right? It's really, really hot. And it takes a good long time for that to come down to room temperature. So during that time frame, it can actually, if you mess with the jars, which I've seen some of you newbies doing, don't do it. Don't do it, my friends, okay? You want to leave them alone. Don't touch them. Seriously, pull them out of the canner. Do I get your excitement? Nobody gets your excitement like I do, okay? It is exciting, and you want to make sure that they sealed, and you want to make sure that everything is great, and wow, that was a little bit of work, and so, yeah, we got to check it. You know, don't check it. Leave it alone. Don't touch. Don't touch. Leave it for at least 8 hours without touching it. I mean, don't touch it. And you'll be fine. Within the 8-hour time frame, you can pretty much tell whether or not they're going to seal. In the 1 hour, in the 2 hour, no. Okay, so go to 8 hours and just sit there and bite your nails and go, oh my gosh, I hope they all seal, okay? And you will learn as you go along to determine which ones you think won't seal. But here's the good news. Don't touch them, because I've been proven wrong, and I've been doing this for a long time now. So don't touch them. Just let them sit. However, when you hit that 24-hour mark, it's either time for them to get washed and put on the shelves, or it's time for them to be reprocessed or put in the fridge. Why it's okay to go 24 hours is because when it's at that high temperature, when you pull them out, okay, they're coming down to room temperature. During that process, that lid is not moving unless you mess with it. That lid is not moving. So it's not getting any contaminants from outside of the jar into the jar. It hasn't moved. Does that mean it's safe? No, because if it doesn't seal properly, it's not safe. Okay, so now that we've got that under control, okay, that's just how long they have factored that it is safe to then either reprocess, consume, or refrigerate it for a couple days. Is that good? And again, I will put the caveat in that this is with the knowledge that you have properly canned it, okay? So a question came up in the Facebook group, and it got kind of debated back and forth. And one of our amazing moderators, if you come to Monday Night Live, you know her as Nest Peeper. If you're in the group, you know her as Emmy. And during this conversation in the group, I'm like, no, you have 24 hours. Guess what? Even an old dog can learn new tricks, okay? So Emmy said, well, I'm going to email the powers that be. Okay, go for it. I don't even remember what I was doing at the time, but I remember being swamped and going, I don't have time for this. So Emmy emailed the powers that be, and she asked the question because the caveat here was that they did not can it for the proper time, okay? The original process, they did not can it for the proper time. They did not realize it until within that 24-hour window. Beyond 2 hours, within 24 hours. And so then they posted in the group, do I just reprocess this? And the general consensus was, well, it's within 24 hours, so you should be good. Because it was closer to 24, you know? And so this whole conversation went on and on and on. And yeah. Emmy said, you know what, I'm going to email the powers that be and we'll find out. Well, it's taken a hot minute. This is easily a couple of months now. And Emmy caught me before coffee this week, and she learned why nobody should talk to me before coffee this week, okay? But she explained to me that she got a response and she forwarded it on to me. So this is thanks to Emmy and her extra step to ensure the safety of everyone, including herself. She emailed them and said, okay, if it was not properly processed, how much time do you have before you can reprocess it to make it safe? Now, I'm not talking I canned dry beans and I want to reprocess it so that it's safe. No, do it right the first time, okay? This is not, you know, I put grains in it, you know, and so now I want to take them out and reprocess. No, you can't do that. Don't do that. As an example of what this entails, it's more like I processed it accidentally at 75 minutes when it should have been 90 minutes. So the questions I've received are, can I put it back in for the extra, 15 minutes? No, you cannot. Do I have to reprocess it completely again? Yes, you do. Or put it in the refrigerator or the freezer or whatever. The window is not 24 hours in that case. And I thought, okay, we're going to explain this. This is if you did not process it for the correct time. Okay, so if it was not processed for the correct time. Legitimately, I have cheat sheets here because I am still soaking this into my head. So she said, the importance of correct pressure. Okay, so I'm going to read pretty much verbatim what she stated while we make our chaffles, yes. And the importance of correct pressure. As she says, as you correctly noted, the purpose of using a specific pressure in canning is to achieve a temperature above boiling, 212 Fahrenheit, typically in the range of 240 Fahrenheit to 250 Fahrenheit. This is for pressure canning, okay? Depending on the altitude and content of the jars. Those do play in to the equation. This is necessary to effectively destroy botulinum spores, which can survive boiling temperatures. What? You mean I can't water bath canned chicken? Which can survive boiling temperatures and are a significant risk in low acid foods like vegetables, meats, and some tomatoes. It is not my intention to be snarky. I really don't want to be snarky, okay? But I really want to reread that again. This is necessary to effectively destroy botulinum spores, which can survive boiling temperatures and are a significant risk in low acid foods like vegetables, meats, and some tomatoes. You cannot get the temperature that hot in a water bath canner to kill botulinum spores. I don't care if you do it for 3 hours or 3 days. You can't do it. What's nice is she said the consequences of inadequate pressure, okay? Failing to reach the recommended pressure for your altitude means that the temperature inside the canner was likely insufficient to ensure the safety of the processed food. Please note, Being able to boil water depends on your altitude. It's different depending on your altitude, okay? This is critical because of the safety of the food depends not only on reaching the correct temperature, but also maintaining it for the required duration. So just because you put your chicken in a jar and water bath can it, and you got it up to boiling, and then you took it off, okay, it doesn't mean you killed anything. And if you pressure canned it for 60 minutes instead of 75, or 75 instead of 90, because you didn't do it for the required time, you probably didn't kill all of the spores. This is critical because the safety of the food depends not only on reaching the correct temperature, but also maintaining it for the required duration. It's so important. It's not like somebody's sitting up there going, I think we're going to make this harder on them today. No, they're really not. So what are the implications for reprocessing? Because as I mentioned, the standard rule that we all pretty much know is that you have a 24-hour window to reprocess. Don't touch them for at least 8, okay? But we have that 24-hour window to reprocess, and I explained why. So the implications for reprocessing. The USDA guidelines that allow up to 24 hours to reprocess or refrigerate foods applies strictly to jars that were processed under the correct conditions but failed to seal. That is the only reason. That is the only time that you will reprocess jars. If you process them for the correct time, but they failed to seal, and so you want to reprocess them. That's the only time. In the scenario that was described, where the canning was done at an insufficient pressure, the food was not processed safely. Thus, these guidelines don't apply. It's kind of like trying to collect on an insurance policy when you didn't meet one of their major requirements. If it is imperative that in order to collect on your car insurance policy, that during the accident you have to be wearing your seatbelt, then they find out that you are not wearing your seatbelt, they don't have to pay you. Legally, they don't have to pay you. So the same thing goes here. If you didn't process it for the correct time, then there is no reprocessing it if it's gone beyond 2 hours. The danger zone and timing. Your reference to the danger zone, 40 degrees Fahrenheit to 140 degrees Fahrenheit, is very relevant here. Foods that have been improperly processed are left at room temperature can quickly become unsafe. You guys know the whole summertime warning, don't leave your food out more than 2 hours if you have a picnic or a barbecue or any of that stuff, right? You're gonna kill somebody. The usual safety margin of leaving food unrefrigerated for up to 2 hours or 1 hour at temperatures above 90 degrees would apply in this scenario, not the 24-hour grace period for reprocessing safe canned foods. So if you did not reprocess it for the correct time, if you reprocessed it for under the correct time and you discovered your mistake as you were pulling them out, then you can reprocess them within a 2-hour window. If you go beyond that, it's not considered safe. Chaffles became such a big part of my regular intake that I upgraded from the single little one because it took forever. And this one makes 4, as you can see. And those ones on the side are supposed to make breadsticks. I pretty much just collect overflow in it and then call it lunch. My chaffles this week are Thrive onions, Thrive bell peppers, Thrive mushrooms, eggs, and a cup of, I think it's Fiesta blend shredded cheese. Yeah, that's what my waffles, my chaffles are this week. It's good stuff. And quite honestly, there's no meat in them because I was busy talking to you guys. I forgot to add the meat. Anyway, so chaffles, I'll put my recipe and the information down below, and also for the waffle iron if anybody's interested. So I thought it was important that we now refer to the 24-2 rule because I have received over the years a lot of people that said, you know, I processed it for the wrong time. What do I do? And yeah, it's a quandary because food's expensive. So first, what I highly recommend, even though I know it can be difficult, is slow down. Do it right, okay? Slow down. Check your notes. Don't go off memory. You guys, I've been doing this for a long time. I got a room full of food in there, okay? And I still always, without fail, always check against the National Center or the source that I'm getting it from before I start canning, just to make sure that I've got all my ducks in a row and I make it happen so I don't kill anybody. I am the person who wasted, a lot of money canning whitefish for the wrong time because I thought I had it in my memory. I do like them when they're not quite as done, but they're good either way. So don't trust your memory, because it's not all it was cracked up to be, sister, okay? Always have a method, a system to double check what you're doing so that you don't make the mistakes that I've made. But this information that Emmy dug up for us, which thank you, Emmy, I appreciate it. It was extremely helpful because it takes a community, guys. It really, really does. But this was extremely helpful and something that I did not have note of. Now, this information comes from Purdue University, okay? So Purdue is saying, no, and I get it. And when they spell it out like that, it really, really helps. Your kids will love this stuff. You will love this stuff. This is good stuff. I will tell you that I won't debate this, okay? This is what the people in the know have discovered and found out through testing. And so this is what I trust, and this is considered safe canning, and that's it. So I won't debate it, but I will discuss it, or I will help clarify, because now that she has explained it in that method, in that way, to me it was easier to understand. So I will happily discuss this and answer any further questions if it's not clear for you, because I get it. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes I need it spelled out in a serious fashion so that I get it. And because things are always, changing, or because we weren't taught, okay, or because Michigan doesn't have a Master Canners program, and a lot of states, most states, do not have a Master Canner program. And so we rely on Master Canners to get the word out to us. It's not, literally, Master Canners are volunteers, okay, for taking the program. Anybody have Master Gardeners in their state? I do. I am so looking forward to having a conversation on why it's okay to, well, that was interesting, how it's okay to teach people how to grow stuff, but not what to do with it afterwards. That's another discussion for another day. Anyway, 24/2. If you processed it correctly, you have 24 hours. If you processed it incorrectly, you have under 2 hours to reprocess. These are chaffles. This is egg and bell pepper and onion and mushroom and cheese made into a waffle, thanks to the waffle iron. I will sit down and do the math and figure out calories and carbs and what was the other one? I don't know, one other one that I track when it comes to what I eat, okay? And these are remarkably filling. You can put them in the toaster and they will not ooze cheese all over the inside of your toaster. You can season them pretty much any way you want. Last time, I think I showed you guys my chaffles. I did everything bagel seasoning. Holy Hannah, game changer, okay? But cheese and eggs, and then whatever. And I will let them come to room temperature, and then I will separate them with parchment paper, and I will put them in the freezer so that whenever I'm running late and I need a quick breakfast, I got it. So you can get it too. You've got this. Being a safe canner it's a learning experience, constantly. It's a learning experience. The soil that we grow our food in has changed. The food itself has changed, predominantly because consumers are the ones that said, hey, we don't like tomatoes so acidy, or we don't like this, or we want things sweeter. Yeah. So, they have answered the public's request and changed the food that we eat so that it is vastly different than the food that our parents and our grandparents ate, depending on how old you are. So you cannot go by, my mom always did it this way. My mom always drove around with 3 kids in the back of a station wagon with no seat belts or car seats. Does that make it right? No, that's what they did during that time frame. Now we know better. Now we do better. 24/2. 2 rule of reprocessing. If you want to check out more about canning, check out this video right here. And until next time, everybody, be safe and check out the chaffle recipe down below.